Hi guys, it's me Ty here, and today I'm going to talk about the visa requirements for Cambodia for November of 2025. So it's been 6 months since I've been here, and a lot has actually changed around here. So they shut down the old airport that we've always used, right at the edge of town, and they built a new airport here, and it's called Techo International Airport. And the reason that the Cambodian government did that on the news when I watched it was we used to always have to take like smaller jets out of like Bangkok, Thailand, and everything, and they didn't hold many people. So they wanted their new airport to be able to accommodate the big Airbuses. Like when I flew overseas, we had one of the big Airbuses that we flew for 15 hours straight. Um, so I had a layover in South Korea, and we had this exact same type of Airbus that we had taken over the ocean, and we use that same Airbus for coming over here to Cambodia. And usually there's like quite a few foreigners when you fly from like South Korea into here, but it was mostly all Khmer people, and most of them said they had never been to Techo International Airport either. So I'm assuming they were working overseas because the airport did open up, I believe, on September 9th of 2025 here. So the visa requirements for Americans as well speak of is um, you have to what is it? Okay, you got to have your exit ticket or whatever, which I bought one, and I went through 12goasia.com, and it was $22. But after they do your currency conversion rate, your international fee, it came out to just under $25. So not bad, because I know that they have those throwaway tickets that people talk about um, for $20. Well, at least this one here that I have is a real ticket, and the cheapest onward travel ticket you can buy for Phnom Penh is to Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, because actually Phnom Penh and Ho Chi Minh City are right across the border from each other. It's only a 7 hour bus ride, so not bad there. So from South Korea, it was a 6 hour flight over here, and when they unloaded us at Techo, um, we walked through everything, and then we got to the iPads. There was like a little room or whatever, and I went in there because I filled those out before, because you have to do your some kind of a arrival card. At most airports, we always wrote it out on pieces of paper. Well, for the last couple of years now, Cambodia has done stuff electronically. You don't have to do anything before you come to this country. You just do it all at the airport on arrival. So I went there, and there was one immigration officer in that little room, and I clicked on everything, and everything was completely written in Chinese. So I asked him, I was like, "Is there a button, or how do you fill this out in English?" And he's like, "Oh, walk further down, and we'll have the iPads actually in the middle of the hallway, uh, which is just like how the old airport was set up." So I sure as heck walked further down, and all the iPads were set up there. And I go to click on one, and they're all written in Chinese too. But they had two immigration officers that were helping everybody. So I told one that it's all in Chinese or whatever. He came over, and I think he pressed like some button up in the right hand corner or whatever. I don't remember. And it did change it to English. And then he just went ahead, he grabbed my passport, and he took a picture of it or whatever, and it automatically filled in all the info. The only info that I had to fill in was where I was staying. And like the place I stay at has like three words to the name or whatever. So I'd write the first word, and then I'd go to hit the space button, and it had like a Chinese character on it too. But it was the only space button, and then it would turn the last two letters of my first word into Chinese. And I was like, this isn't gonna work or whatever. So I asked him about that, and he went ahead and he deleted it backwards. And then he goes ahead and he starts typing in the name, and then he hits the space button and it turns into Chinese. He's like he's like, I don't know. So I just went ahead and left the three words to the place that I was staying. I went ahead and I just didn't put a space in between each word. I just made each word a capital letter, and that's how I filled that out. And then he sent me to the next windows where you go and and also when he helped me fill that out, he asked. I told him, he's like, "What's your purpose here?" Because they'll ask you, "Are you here for tourism? Are you here for business? Looking for a job? Whatever." And the thing that I told him right away is because lots is what is it? It's $30 if you want a tourist visa here, and it's only good for 30 days. and then you are forced to leave the country. If you decide that you want to stay here longer, tough luck. You have to pay for a ticket, a bus ticket or a plane ticket to get the heck out of this country, and then pay for a visa all over to get back in. So I always recommend that, like Americans, Canadians, anyone with a strong passport, that you ask for the e-ordinary visa looking for work. And you don't actually have to find a job. You could stay here for forever. Um, as long as you're paying for your visa for every month or whatever, and that is $35, only $5 more. I think it's cheap insurance, just in case you decide that you want to extend your stay here. So I told him I want the e-ordinary visa. I'm looking for work. So he gives me a little receipt and he goes and he stamps an E on it. So I go to the next counter and I tell them I don't have a visa yet. I want to buy the e-ordinary visa looking for work. And they're like, okay, $35, sir. So I paid for that. And then they send you to the next immigration officer next to them. And they put like a little receipt in there. And I was like, where's my sticker? As Because lots of times they'll put a sticker in there that'll say like E ordinary visa or T in there. And he's like, oh, we don't do that anymore. It's all electronically in our system. We know if you're overstaying your visa, any of that. And which, by the way, if you overstay your visa here, it is $10 per day. So it gets very expensive. Um, and you probably would do jail time if you didn't pay that fee when you're trying to exit the country. So the next thing in line, we had to go ahead and swipe our passport again, and then it also took a picture of us. There's like this big line that went all around our face on the camera or whatever. We had to get your face inside of there, and then would snap the picture, and then would open up a gate. And you walk through the gate, and then there was another computer screen there, and that one I believe had you do your fingerprints on the pad there. And then once you did that, then it flipped open and let you through. And there is an immigration officer there to just kind of check if there's any problems. And I asked him again, and he's like, "Yep, sir, we don't do the stickers in your passport." So the only proof that you actually have a visa here in Cambodia for this visit is it's all in their computer system. So just keep your little paper receipts, you guys. So once I got out of there, I went through baggage claim, which I just had carry-on luggage, and then I asked them where do I exchange money and where are the SIM cards for making phone calls here, and they're like, oh, you got to go out the main doors. So I just kept walking straight through the baggage area and got out into the main lobby way up in the front, and I took a right, and sure as heck there was a bank there that had an exchange rate, and it was actually a really good exchange rate. It was 4,070 Cambodia real to $1, and it was probably 11:45 at night. And they're like, "Oh, can we help you?" And I was like, "Oh, I want to see what everybody else has for the exchange rates, because at most airports they will have multiple banks there, and each one offers a different exchange rate." So I went ahead and I took a right by there and walked to the end, and that's where they had all the SIM card counters. They were actually all together. Smart, which is the main telephone carrier for Cambodia here, and they have their locations for you to pay your bill at just about every single major shopping mall or in your neighborhood. And then they also had Metphone, which they are very rare. I've only seen one location throughout the city here to renew your phone plan, so I don't recommend going with them. And then they had two other phone carriers, which I never even heard of. So yeah, good luck renewing your phone. So I always say get smart, and it's $6 for 60 gigabytes of data for the entire month for 30 days. And and that was the same plan for all of the competitors, Metphone and the other two. They all had 60 gigabytes for $6 as well. And then I didn't get any because I just wanted to still walk around the main part of the airport, and there was absolutely nothing in there actually. So then I walked back to the bank, and it was 11:55, and they closed all the counters, and I was like, I'd like to exchange money, and they're like, oh, sorry, sir, we closed. And I was like, what time do you close? And the girl said midnight, 12 o'clock. And I was like, oh, okay. So I guess they were just shutting down a little bit early to, um, I don't know, get all their stuff ready for the next day. So I was like, oh, so they had ATM machines there, which there was like a really suspicious Chinese guy and his buddy standing right by there, and he kept getting closer to me when I was gonna go use my ATM card. So I was like, yeah, I'm not using this ATM. So then I walked um, back over by the where the Met phones are, and they have a whole bunch of ATMs over there, and it actually sucks your credit card into the machine there, so you know that there aren't any skimmers or anything on that. So I was able to use that and got some Cambodia real, and then I walked over to the smart counter, which is right by there, and I asked them how much is going to be total with the SIM card, because usually at the old airport we always paid $11 total because you have to buy a SIM card, and then it's $6 for the actual plan for each month. And he's like, "Oh no, the SIM card is actually free now." He's like, "That's $6 includes your brand new SIM card." I was like, "Sweet." So he got me all set up there, and um, and I've been here before, like I said. So around here, we don't really use Grab like you do in a lot of the other Asian countries, because like when I first moved here for work, um, we I tried downloading Grab and it actually physically wouldn't download on my phone. It kept saying there was an error. And I talked to a lot of other people that moved here, and they said they had the exact same situation where Grab would just not activate on your phone. You just, yeah. So it was a waste there. So what I found out was PassApp is the best one for getting around here. That's what all the locals use, and it's only used in Cambodia. So I downloaded PassApp and put my phone number in there and got it all registered. And I asked the boy at the smartphone or at the smart place there where I got my telephone card, and I was like, which way is or where do I go out for PassApp, and then also um, which way is the city? Because usually I like to walk outside the main gates, so that your taxi driver doesn't have to pay the toll, so it'll be cheaper for your taxi ride. And he's like, "Oh, you go straight out, and it to the left is the direction of the city." So I go out there. There's a bunch of taxis, and fast forward on that. If you guys are wondering how much a taxi costs from the airport, it is. I talked to a foreigner from Sweden yesterday. I was having dinner with him here, and he just arrived here at the beginning of November as well. And he said he went to the taxi driver, and they quoted him at $30 to take you in the city. And I mean, it is a long ride, because I believe it's like at least 26 minutes from the airport to there. And yeah, there's no way I'm paying that kind of money. Because like even the old airport here, we if you use PassApp, it was $3. So that guy they had dinner with, he said that he usually uses or he used the bus because he's like, I'm not paying the $30, and he arrived here during the day. So the city bus actually does come to the airport. You have to have the app to actually find it. I guess you probably wouldn't need the app, but it's just how to track it and the routes and everything. And there is a bus that comes to the airport, and on the side of it, it says Airport Express. So that's the bus you want to hop on, and it's only 1,500 Cambodia real, and it takes you all the way to the city center where the Royal Palace is. So yeah, less than 50 cents. But that was an option for me because I got checked in here after midnight. So I decided to walk out the front doors. I walked through all the parking lots. I must have passed through 3 different toll booths for the cars. And I got out on the main highway, and it was still just a one way. And I was getting way the heck out there, and I was like, man, maybe I better just call PassApp. So I typed it in there, and it was just under $9 for PassApp from the airport to take me to Royal Palace. And I waited there for a little bit, and pretty soon, taxi driver in a car, he pulls up. He's like, "Do you need a taxi, sir?" And I was like, "Well, I was just going to use PassApp actually," and they quoted me at less than $9. And he's like, "Oh, let me see it." So I showed him. He's like, and I was like, "Would you be willing to give me a ride into the city center for $9?" And he's like, "Yep, I'll do it." So he gave me a ride all the way in, and it was a fun conversation. Spoke pretty decent English. So that's how that was. And let's see, is there anything else for you guys? And I believe you guys have to have like 6 months left on your passport. But yeah, like I said, I always recommend the e-ordinary visa, and you just get that on arrival here, you guys. And if your airport when you're leaving the United States asks you, do you have a visa? You tell them you don't need to buy it online. That they actually prefer that you buy it at the airport. So yeah, that should be about it for that. And if you guys like these money saving videos, I will just keep kicking out these money saving videos here from Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and you guys can like, share, and subscribe. So, all right, take care, you guys.